It was spring and Gary Williams and his wife, Angela, were walking along one of their favorite beaches. Middleton Sands in Lancashire, England. It's a popular spot with hikers and dog walkers and even swimmers when the weather is nice. But as the Williamses walked across the beach, they spotted something strange and something that would prove to be of immense value. When a couple found this strange rock on a beach, they had no idea of its immense value. That April day, however, Angela and Gary were first surprised by a truly disgusting stench. Gary later described the smell as being like rotting fish. But that wasn't going to deter the intrepid couple. Oh, no. Indeed, the couple followed the unpleasant odor to find its source. And what did they discover? Well, a pale ball not quite the size of a football. It also had a waxy texture. And, best of all, the Williamses actually had an idea of what the mysterious and very smelly object might be. Gary and Angela had heard on the news and in the newspapers that similar discoveries had been made and believed they may have stumbled upon a rare marine substance called ambergris. Occasionally, pieces of ambergris or whale vomit, as it is sometimes called, are washed ashore and found by walkers. The couple covered their find with a scarf before taking it with them. Then, once they had brought what they thought was ambergris home, Gary used his fisherman's scale to weigh the piece. He weighed almost 4 kilograms. And that only increased Gary and Angela's joy. For what? Well, because they knew that a man had found a piece of ambergris on the coast of Morecambe, not far from where they were. This other piece was about twice as big as the one Angela and Gary had found. And it had been valued at $155,000, which could mean the Williams piece of ambergris could net them $65,000. That's a lot of money for vomit. Speaking to the Daily Mirror, Gary described his discovery. It smells so bad, it's a very distinctive smell, like a cross between squid and farmyard manure. It looks like a rock-hard rubber ball. Its texture is like wax, like a candle. When you touch it, you get wax that sticks to your fingers. It seemed quite disgusting to us. But what exactly is ambergris? Well, its other name, whale vomit, isn't strictly accurate, but it provides a clue. Indeed, although the substance is produced by whales, it is not really vomit. It's something else entirely, and it's produced by only one species on the planet. That species is the sperm whale, a magnificent animal found in oceans and seas around the world, including the coastal waters of France and Canada. Members of the species can reach a staggering 22 meters in length and weigh up to 63 tons, which is obviously pretty massive. At one time, these whales were commonly hunted for their blubber, which was used to make many things, from candles and soap to machine oil and pencils. It is quite shocking to learn that up to 1 million whales were slaughtered for these purposes during the 19th and 20th centuries. But fortunately, the sperm whale population is slowly recovering since hunting was banned in the 1980s. And it's also fortunate for fishermen, because tracking these creatures can sometimes be a dangerous endeavor. In 1820, a sperm whale believed to be 30 meters long struck the Essex, a ship from Nantucket, Massachusetts. This caused the ship to sink, and its 20 crew members were stranded in small lifeboats in the South Pacific, with little food. The men remained at sea for 95 days, during which they had to eat the corpses of 12 of their fellow sailors. Terrible. Only 8 men survived. And the legend of this tragedy has spanned the ages. Herman Melville is said to have based his classic novel Moby Dick on this incident. But if harvesting blubber was the main motive for sperm whale hunting, ambergris was also highly prized. It was thus used in the production of perfumes, for example. The ancient Egyptians used it as a type of incense, while medieval Europeans believed it to have medicinal properties. You may be wondering, however, how such a smelly product was used in perfume production. Well, only freshly created ambergris has this unpleasant smell. Its smell becomes more pleasant with age. However, this still leaves one question unanswered. Namely, what makes the sperm whale create such a strange substance? Well, scientists believe it has to do with the eating habits of this gigantic mammal. Sperm whales love to eat giant squid, and they have hard beaks that cannot be digested. So, whales vomit most, but not all, from their beaks. The beaks that enter a whale's digestive system are then covered in ambergris to protect the animal's intestines and stomach. This ambergris is actually formed from a liquid that comes out of the bile duct in the bowels of the whale. And we don't recommend reading this next passage while you're eating. Sometimes, you see, ambergris is released by the whale with its excrement. Yes, it's quite disgusting. On the other hand, it also sometimes comes out through the mouth, hence the idea of whale vomit. Interestingly, ambergris is only produced very slowly, over periods of several years. Apparently not all sperm whales produce this substance either, perhaps only 1%. But if you still want to try your luck, head to the Atlantic Ocean. This is where you're likely to find ambergris, although most commercial collection of the substance occurs in the Caribbean. So, use your own brain power and keep an eye out for ambergris on your next beach trip. There's a reason it's sometimes called floating gold. Remember, though, that most lumpy things that smell like poop are probably just that. As for Gary and Angela? Well, they already knew what to do with that potential money. With what you might call a typically British edge, Gary told the Daily Mirror, "If the ambergris is worth a lot of money, it will go a long way towards enabling us to buy a mobile home. It would be a dream come true." But what about other discoveries of this kind? Well, a man in North Carolina also came across something unusual on a beach. And this particular object was so strange that it seemed like it wasn't of this world. However, not only was he very real, but he was also a little scary to watch. But what about other discoveries of this kind? Well, a man in North Carolina also came across something unusual on a beach. And this particular object was so strange that it seemed like it wasn't of this world. However, not only was he very real, but he was also a little scary to watch. Our man made this strange discovery on Topsail Island, 41 kilometers long, located just off the coast of North Carolina. Like other so-called barrier islands found in New England and many parts of the world, this site is believed to have formed approximately 18,000 years ago. The rise in sea level since the end of the last ice age had then flooded the areas behind the coastal sand deposits. Therefore, barrier islands are known for their beautiful beaches and unique animal habitat, and Topsail Island is no exception. It is particularly famous for fishing and is also a major nesting site for sea turtles. So it was in the midst of such natural diversity that a local, Denny Bland, was walking along the beach in October 2015 when he came across something strange. In fact, what he discovered was a gigantic tooth almost as big as his hand. Luckily, the local Aurora Fossil Museum knew exactly what the tooth was. And when Bland realized what it belonged to, he could hardly believe it. It turned out that the tooth came from a megalodon, a huge and probably fortunately extinct shark. This beast, whose name literally means big tooth in Greek, roamed the oceans approximately between 16 million and 2.6 million years ago. Furthermore, during his reign he was the largest predator on the planet. After finding out what the tooth belonged to, Bland said he felt like a lottery winner. He explained, "I couldn't have gotten $1 million and been happier. Even if you find a little shark tooth, you are just super happy." Although scientists do not know the exact size of this shark species, it is believed to have been between 17 and 20 meters long and weighed between 70 and 100 tons. This would make this fearsome creature 3 times longer and 30 times heavier than the great white shark, which is the largest predatory shark alive today. Indeed, as paleontologist Chuck Ciampaglio pointed out, megalodon was much larger than Tyrannosaurus rex. In his own words, a T-Rex wouldn't stand a chance against that thing. The head of the T-Rex would fit in the mouth of the megalodon. And we easily understand his reasoning. Indeed, although no example of the fossilized jaws of the megalodon has yet been found, a scientific reconstruction based on the great white shark attributes to them a minimum of 2 meters in diameter. These massive jaws contained a total of 276 teeth arranged in 5 rows. And if that wasn't scary enough, add in the fact that they were also serrated like a bread knife, meaning that each prong had a saw-like edge on both sides. Additionally, it is estimated that this shark's monstrous bite produced approximately between 20 to 40 tons of force, the most of any creature in history. This was enough to easily crush the bones of whales and other large animals on which it preyed. In this day and age, it's not just Bland who got lucky with his find. Indeed, megalodon teeth were discovered by many other island residents throughout October, and North Carolina as a whole is considered one of the best places to find them. Scientists believe high tides and rains caused by Hurricane Joaquin earlier that month may have brought them up from the depths of the Atlantic Ocean. However, as evidenced by tooth finds in Europe, North America, Asia and even Australia, the megalodon lived and hunted all over the world. Indeed, a similar discovery had been made a few months earlier in Central Europe when a Croatian found a black megalodon tooth in a local river. Megalodon teeth were also discovered earlier in history, but at the time they were believed to have mythical origins. In fact, some people thought they were dragon tongues. Other theories, meanwhile, suggested that the objects were lunar rocks. It wasn't until 1666 that a Danish scientist named Nicolaus Steno examined the teeth of a great white shark and realized the fossils must belong to an even larger shark. This was possible because, unlike the cartilaginous skeleton of the giant shark, the teeth can turn into fossils and survive for millions of years. And because sharks are known to constantly lose and replace their teeth, this offers plenty of evidence for paleontologists. Today, scientists believe that megalodon preferred warm coastal waters because of its inability to regulate its body temperature. Their current theory about the beast's extinction is that the onset of the Ice Age retained large volumes of water in the form of ice, thereby drying out the warm coastal areas they frequented. This is further supported by the fact that megalodon teeth have been discovered on land up to 150 kilometers from the nearest coast. This suggests that these megalodon hunting grounds were once covered by shallow seas that have since dried up or receded. Additionally, although some people remain hopeful that the giant predator still exists, scientists say it's impossible. They are adamant that the last megalodon died out 2.6 million years ago, while our distant Homo habilis ancestors roamed the earth. And considering Jaws is already scary enough with its little white shark, that's probably a good thing. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.